What is happening, everybody? I hope you've had a good...
Back in like 2005, something like that.
I think my first con was so good. It's Friday Junior.
It's Friday, Junior. It's podcast day. It's payday.
And if you come out, do it electrically. Doesn't matter how you feel about the situation.
My name is Raph. We're always start the podcast because we just want to talk about it. We want to talk about music and just share those stories and experience. This is my co-host, Carl, a.k.a. The Beer Buddy. He is hailing you.
This sort of weird era where they're sort of right in that post-grunge.
Look, you're fighting the good fight in today's world. My war was fought 40 years ago, really.
We are the two dudes who talk music, and we are here. Hey, I'm too quick on that air horn button, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, that is amazing. I love every second of it, dude. Fantastic.
What is going on, mate? How are ya?
Good, Raph. How you going, man?
I am good. It's Thursday. Yeah. You're cracking the fresh one. Love it. Love to see it. Love to see it. Yes, once again, it is Thursday. It is podcast day. It is my second favorite day of the week, other than Fridays, for obvious reasons. But
wow.
I'm rocking that new Mudvayne shirt. Hang on.
Yeah, dude. The drip is looking good. It's
If y'all didn't see it, if y'all didn't catch it at the tours, that's the new shirt. Got the tour dates on the back. Absolutely pimping design right there. Honestly, I would have bought every shirt if I could. Have. But what about you, mate? What have you been up to?
Mate, just been plodding away. We got some reactions done, which was good. They came out pretty good. I'm excited for people to see some of those on the Metal
Go and
Rouge
check
channel.
those out. Yeah, go and check them out over on Metal Rouge.
Shows coming up with the champions from Firefly, and yeah, that's getting busy over on that end. So yeah, it's been fun. Just enjoying filming and making videos at the moment.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. I mean, look, we've had some great guests on lately. You know, if you guys have been keeping track, go back. We will have that episode with Deprivation, so you can hear all about the crazy shit that they got up to with their trip to Buchan, and all the madness that they had to endure for that, like slipping and sliding around the mud in the RV and all that shit.
Yeah, we won't give too much away, but there was tractors involved.
Yeah.
Go listen to it.
Go and watch that one for sure. That's a very worthwhile one. But look, we have a band today that I heard about a couple of years ago, back when Skunkbone was still active there, and we were I think trying to sort out a gig, and Corey said, "Hey, you should reach out to this band." Didn't end up happening at the time, and I kind of had meant to see them for a while, didn't get around to it, and then very recently I saw this band at a show at Tomcats where they performed with Viper Snatch, and I was absolutely floored by these guys. This is a band that I think if you're in the Brisbane scene and you haven't made the time to see this band, you absolutely should. We have with us today 3 out of 4 members of Foulface. We have James, Joey, and Shannon. How are you all doing today, guys?
What's cracking, y'all?
And fantastic. How are you guys?
We are good.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. We very, very much appreciate it.
We're stoked to.
Thanks for having us.
As I said, like I think it was, I don't know who it was that I would have been talking to via, I can't remember if it was email or Facebook messages when I reached out a little while ago, but it was for a Skunkbone gig and things just didn't kind of line up around that at the time. But very, very highly recommended by Corey when he was like, "Hey, you should talk to this band." And as I said, yeah, been meaning to ever since then try and catch you guys at a show. And then I mean, I was going to the Viper Snatch show anyway, but when I saw Foulface was on that lineup, I was like, okay, absolutely have to take this opportunity, have to pay attention to what's going on. And like I was absolutely floored. Like the quality and the quality of the songs, the performance, the musicianship, just how captivating of a show was put on. I'm all in on Foulface. I just wish there was some more music online that I could listen to.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking.
I took the words right out of my mouth because The track you guys got out on from that are blessed by our lords and saviors from the Spotify's, all hail Spotify. Premonitions is an absolutely cracking track. It is really, really good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We are definitely keen to get some more stuff out there. It's just we've had a bit of a break, and yeah, since the new year, I think we haven't really hung out much or in practice, but we're getting back into it.
Good.
Busy time. Silly periods over.
Yeah,
and two bands.
Oh yeah, juggling two bands because you also played that night with Liposuction as well, didn't you, Shannon?
Yeah, so yeah, did a set with them, played with Foulface, got fucking gout randomly, and had to go to the Gold Coast the next day to play 2 more shows with both bands with gout when I couldn't walk, but it was fun, I guess.
Nightmare.
Look, that's dedication. That's absolute dedication right there. Yeah, so it would have taken some people out, but you knew there was a job that had to be done, and you made it work.
I tried to.
You really did. Yeah, you
that would
rocked
have
it.
stung.
It sucked over time, but I reckon it makes for an alright story now.
They always do. All that shit does. All that shit does. Like I can, there's a story I've told before about, was over at Perth with Tensions Arise. We were getting drunk before the show because there was nothing else to do, and we were being fucking dickhead rock stars and shit. And face planted a coffee table about 3 hours, 2-3 hours before the gig was meant to start. So, and went on stage with like scrapes on my face and like some, black eyes starting to come up and everything. So
that's so metal.
Punk as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. They would have just been like, look, man, I love the makeup. I love it. Looks so real.
Yeah. But look, that's what happens, right? Like we're rock stars, we're musicians, we just got to carry on when stuff, as long as we can play.
Yeah, that's true, but also as well, like I was just thinking, I was like, I'd rather still be out doing something than just, being depressed at home because I couldn't play shows. So I was like, might as well just play them.
That's it. My hands still work. One foot's still going. My hands still work and one foot's still going. We 3 out of 4, baby. Let's go.
That's it. I mean,
let's do this.
I mean, I've a mate of ours from sort of Newcastle sort of area, Gosford area in New South Wales. He lost a leg and has it something that I hadn't really considered until my friend went through it was learning to walk with a prosthetic is not only learning to walk in terms of like learning to walk again, but also it's quite painful because there's parts of your body that are taking pressure that wouldn't normally, and it's like being just standing for an extended period of time is quite challenging especially early on. So he'd hop up there on stage and he would wear shorts and he would, so everyone could see the leg there, and he would just sit down. But he was the singer in the band and he was like still getting up there and doing it, which I have immense respect for. Shout out to Jason.
Yeah, big shout out, Jason.
Keen for his new stuff that he's working on. Very, very excited to hear that. But you're right. Like you could sit at home feeling sorry for yourself and being like, oh fuck, like I missed out on the shows and the bands couldn't do the shows because I fucking blah blah blah. But you still went out there and did it, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Very, very impressive. And is admirable, for sure. So let's dive in a little bit. I do want to ask about, like, when did Foulface sort of come together, and what was the impetus for starting this particular group?
Shannon and I met, I think I was trying to work out the year the other day. Was it 2020?
Yeah, you've known me for 4 years this year.
2020, yeah.
Wow.
So
wild.
Really wild. I just quit my job that I worked at for like 6 years. I just moved to Brisbane. COVID happened, sort of had nothing else going for me. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna study music. I've been a musician my entire life and had nothing else to
That's
do. So yeah, started a Cert
yeah.
3 at TAFE in music, and that's where
Now
I
we're
met
here.
Shannon. And then
And it
yeah,
was
we went on
interesting
and
as well because we both not long moved to Brisbane as well from different towns. So Joey's from Townsville, and I moved down from Gympie. So, a bit of a Townsville Gympie rivalry there. We almost met each other at the skate park a few times, but no, but
yeah,
all seriousness, so I
Moving
just
to the
finished
big
playing.
city.
Yeah, just finished spending like a 7 year stint with my old band from Gympie, and figured it's time for a change. Moved down to Brisbane, met Joe, and then we kind of started jamming the Cert 3, hey, with a few
yeah.
random other people.
Just for like assessment pieces, just for like shit we had to get done. We were
Mm.
just thrown in a room together, and then I guess I think I was sitting on a piano, like jamming out a song that I'd written just for an assignment, and Shannon was like, "What is that?" Um, and that became like our first song. That became August, which we kind of
Wild.
worked on for ages and still holds a very special place in our heart as like our first song. That yeah was literally just like an assessment piece that we had to
Mm.
churn out at the end of the year to get our certificates, and then yeah, we went on to do a diploma in music, and that's where we met James and our bassist Bede. um and again, I think we had like 6 hours a week where we had to be in rooms together and had to be
Jamming and stuff.
practicing music, yeah, to just to get, our grades.
Mm.
And it was in those rooms that we were like, oh, we actually have something more than just like assessment pieces here. We have one, like a really strong friendship and really good connection. And then
Going,
we
going.
can all write some fucking bangers. So
Mm.
yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I studied music at TAFE, but when I was down in Sydney, way back. I'm talking like showing my age here.
Don't
Sort
show
of
your
like
age, Raf.
2006, 2007, kind of that time frame. I did like certificates 2, 3, and 4 in music performance and Cert 3 in production. Um, so yeah, I get what you mean about like you've got to spend the time in the rehearsal spaces there, and
Yeah.
like we actually, I mean, I don't know if it worked the same, still works the same or not, but at the time, like because of the rehearsal room, uh, yeah, they were opened later for like after the sort of classes had
Yeah.
finished for people to use, and like I would utilize that for other bands that I had going on. Like they'd come down and it's like, hey, yeah, there's a rehearsal space here. You just have to bring your fucking guitar, and there's already a drum kit in the room. There's already fucking
Yeah.
amps in
Mm,
the room. You just show
Mm.
up and plug
yeah.
in, and off
It
you
was
go.
so
Like,
good.
Yeah,
mm,
amazing. That was we went to the TAFE in South Bank, and it's like an amazing facility.
Yeah,
Just
100%.
incredible teachers, like
mm.
teachers that became our mentors and
And
who
even
really
good
believed
mates
in us.
too.
Yeah,
Like shout
yeah,
out to
people who
Toby. We love that
really,
guy.
oh, love that man.
One love.
Toby and
Toby
Mary
Loveland.
and Heath, love them. But they really pushed us as well. I think Toby definitely was like, "You guys have something cool and special
Yeah.
here, and I want you to work on it." And yeah, we were only ever pushed into doing exactly what we wanted to do. Um, and I think that support just like lit a fire under us, and we were like, "Hell yeah, let's ride this wave, let's go!" And it became what it is now, 4 years later.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's something that is like I absolutely saw it with other people. Like, 'cause, look, I was fortunate in there was some people in my classes that were similarly minded in terms of musical interests there, but um, it was still not quite to the extreme that I'm into alternative music, and but it was awesome seeing partnerships and sort of groups form like that, and connections form, because I was looking at the people I went to tape with. I'm like, yeah, like you're gonna do a lot of cool shit, and the teachers as well, like you say, I completely understand that angle too. I mean, I think the head of our music department at Narimba TAFE that I went to, Steve Bull, he was been the bass player for Icehouse. We had people that were one of our performance teachers that was the drummer from Leonardo's Bride. One of them he had toured in the UK with he toured UK and Europe with Deep Purple with his band that he'd been in at the time. So people that
Sick.
mixed and mastered like music, people that had done the masters for like Elvis records when they came into Australia and stuff. Like
Wow.
the degree of talent that is the people that are teaching at TAFE have real practical experience for the most part. At least I found that they did. Um,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah, we learn a lot.
there's industry
Yeah.
knowledge you can get there. There's industry knowledge you can get studying music at TAFE that you just will not get at like studying music at a university environment or going to some of these audio engineering colleges that they have. And I'm not saying there's no benefit to those. There absolutely can be for the right people. But I just found that like if I'd studied music at university, even if I'd had the ability, which I'm not skilled enough or good enough to do music at uni, I'll say that right now. But I got for me and what I wanted to get out of studying music, I got so much more out of doing it at TAFE than I think I would have had at any other environment. And it's a shame to see that these programs are getting like having to charge higher and higher fees for
Mm,
people because they're getting less and less government funding. And
Absolutely.
TAFE for a very long time was meant to be like vocational studies, practical studies that were affordable, and it's becoming less and less the case. And unfortunately, when it comes to things like music and art, people don't see them. Even people in government and just a lot of people in society don't see them as valid careers. So they don't see that government funding should go towards those kind of courses. They just don't see it
Absolutely.
as being a point. They're like, well, we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need builders, but etc. etc. But I think, and I mean, yes, what being musicians, we can argue that yes, but you also need musicians. Like
Absolutely. It's a
absolutely.
massive
it's
industry. And I
it's
think we got really lucky as well because um, when we did our diploma in 2021, they were offering some kind of like subsidized study thing um, for a couple of diplomas, but they were doing it for the music one. I think that's kind of what incentivized us to go ahead and do the
Yeah,
diploma because
because
instead of it
Absolutely.
being
Yeah.
like 3.5K, I think I paid $80 for a year,
yeah, and I
Oh
which
think I
was
did.
wow.
I paid like,
incredible.
and I think I paid like 180 or something like that. Wasn't that
Yeah,
expensive? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
we were
Someone's
very
done it
And I
lucky.
can
before as well.
speak on that like from that point of view because I'm currently in my second year of a fine arts degree at uni, majoring in music. And golly gosh, those hex fees are just
Mm.
pretty insane. Like second year, I've done two and a bit semesters and oh, insane.
yeah,
But
that's where they.
I must say, I think we got so lucky, and this is going to sound a little bit lame and maybe woo wooey, but I think it was kind of meant to be. We were sort of meant to be in
Oh,
that
that's
same
so
place at
fucking
that
lame.
same
What are you doing?
time.
No,
I
No.
know,
There's
but
no
like,
such thing as
what
fate.
like
no, I
I
kid
don't
though.
know.
I kid. I
No,
get what you
I
Yeah,
mean
mean.
it.
Though. I
no.
get.
It was very like it was invariable to me as well because coming from Gympie, coming down to Brisbane, I don't know, like, I couldn't really measure myself as a musician either, so I wanted to see what I could learn and just to see, like, have a feel of layout, and it was great. We learnt some invariable lessons, we did
We
some
made
pretty cool,
insane connections. The
yeah,
networking that we did there,
Mm.
like completely,
wild.
yeah, wild. It gave us a massive head start, I think, in
Yeah,
what we were doing. Just
absolutely.
the people that we knew was, yeah, really helped
Well,
us.
look,
And we
and
get
and look,
people,
as much as it
we,
pains me to say it, that is the point of going to higher education. People
absolutely.
just think if people just think you go there and
Particularly in
learn.
the arts.
No, you go and network. The people that you
Yeah.
meet may do better than you, and
Absolutely.
if you make good connections with them, you can ask them questions, or they can help steer you in the right direction, or just the other
Hmm.
people you meet in other industries within that high place of higher education. may end up working in some sort of field, and if you know them, you already have a rapport.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely. Shout
And
out
it
to
was,
Mackenzie Green.
oh
Amazing.
yeah,
Got us
Mm.
gigs that we were so underqualified for, but put us on like a big
100%.
stage with like we, played a festival with Void, like as
Yeah.
the headliners when we were like what, a year into being a band, like
Not
Yeah,
not even.
not
We were
even like
yeah,
6 months.
probably not even. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
like,
like that never would have happened unless we had Mackenzie, who is just a blessing. Just
and
works
it's
for
wild too.
Destroyer Lines now. Just amazing person.
Yeah. And it's wild too because it was only a few months ago when we played at, I think it was like the last Tomcat gig we did last year. I had a dude come up to me. He was like, "Oh, I've been catching you guys a fair bit lately. I saw you guys play at gig week at TAFE," and I was like, "Wow!" Like some random dude just saw us
Wow.
playing with TAFE and he comes to our shows now. I thought that was pretty wild.
Mate, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
amazing.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
And I
Yeah.
mean,
very, very.
you only have to look at it like a lot of bands were college bands, and that's how they made it big. They took over their campus, and
Yeah, absolutely.
they ended up touring on. I mean, Sum 41 used to kill the college. They just used to go to colleges and just used to play around colleges and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's
Mm.
mate, you got to
Yeah,
We got
absolutely.
asked back. We got asked to come back to the TAFE and play a little show and do like a Q&A with
Yeah.
the things that we're currently playing. And
Mm.
I even get some people at gigs being like, "You came and played at TAFE,
Yeah.
and I remember when we were chatting to you, and it's cool to see you guys play." It's like, yeah, you just make these silly little connections along the
Mm.
way and make
Yeah.
like lifelong friends, and it's
And
sick.
you know what?
Hell yeah.
The other thing I think about when it comes to TAFE versus something like university is, like I said, the people that are teaching the courses are not career teachers for the most
Yeah,
part.
that's right.
They're not career
Exactly.
teachers. They know the difference between theoretical knowledge and applied knowledge. Like
100%.
we had when I was doing the Cert 3 in tech production, right? Like one of our things was about like PA systems and lighting systems and that. But the guy was like, "Look, I think it was our second or third week. He's like, right, today we're doing coiling cables and ripping gaff tape.
Yep.
And if you
Been there.
and he
Yeah,
goes,
we
he's
had
like,
a
if you cannot do these two things properly, you will not pass this course because this is
yep.
the most basic skills in the industry that everyone has. And if you can't do them, you will hinder everyone else on the site. So you need to be able to do these to pass the course. And people were like, coiling a cable and ripping gap tape and I'll fail? Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? And it's like, no,
We
it
had
legit.
an exam on wrapping cables the right
We
way.
did,
I
yeah.
remember Shannon and I worked together for that exam.
Yep,
We
yep.
had to
And I,
set up a PA and wrap the cables, and that was the
That was
exam.
wild.
Yep. And it's crazy to me, like knowing it, going through that and learning the right way to do it, and then getting out there and seeing so many people not doing it the right way, it hurts my soul every
It
time
does. It
someone
does.
just grabs a cable and is doing these ones,
Around
Over
the
the elbow.
or like, yeah, and or I'm like,
twist and roll, twist and roll.
yeah. But
Twist and
it's
roll.
made me great. It's
Under
like
and over.
the only I'll only buy Nashua gaff tape because it's the real deal, and it's like the toughest shit out there. I
Yeah.
mean, I've not only used it in music, like I had, I had a crane go through the rear window on my station wagon once, and I fucking taped up the fucking hole cause just to stop until I got the window replaced.
That's
Taped up the
unreal.
hole with gaff tape. I moved into a new apartment once, and I didn't have a coffee table, but I had a big box that my TV had come in and four identical smaller boxes. So I, using gaff tape, taped the shit all together and then covered the whole top of it in gaff tape. And it was my
Sick.
hobo coffee table. It
Nice.
was like, and that shit lasted me the whole 18 months in that house until
Yeah,
Of course
I
it
was
wow.
moving
did.
and I had to put and I was like, all right, I'll break it down. So I put the TV back in the box and everything. Like that shit is fucking amazing to use. But the other crazy thing to me is that the people that are teaching at TAFE, because they're not career teachers, they are there because they care about passing on their knowledge.
And they're passionate.
Exactly. Like I had one of my performance teachers. I mean, the one that, well, like I said, that was kind of toured with his band off with Deep Purple back in the day. Like he, we always kind of laugh because he'd get everyone to come into the performance class and like kind of like shake out and do some stuff just to get
Check it
ourselves
out.
moving and
Yeah.
have a bit of a hippie vibes, right? But like, as you'd probably, I imagine they did the same thing when they had you guys perform. They would like videotape it and then you'd watch it back
Yeah,
later.
we've actually got one that we filmed at TAFE somewhere on Facebook, I think, from like our last performance in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sort of thing as well was so
We've got our
valuable.
first and our last one, actually, Shannon.
Oh, true. We got
We've got our
August.
very first performance there
Well,
and our
that's
very last one. We should
that's some
compare
good
them.
doco material. That's some good doco material right
Sure.
there.
Oh,
That's it.
But like
I
one
don't
thing
know. I
that
think the
noticed-
first one's a little bit cringe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No, the
We-
more cringe, the better, because then it's like, look
Yeah.
at us then. Now look at us now.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, and,
True.
like if we came off one of our performances and like I at the time I had only started playing bass a couple of years before studying at TAFE. So I'd been a piano first, then guitar for a long time, and then I switched over to playing bass. But I, for whatever reason, I was a fucking idiot. Whatever reason, I had this opinion that I was like better than the other bass players, and I was like, I was hot shit for whatever reason. And we had watched that first performance video, and then the first thing that this teacher does is he turns to me, looks me dead in the eyes, and he goes, "First things first, you're not nearly as good as you think you are." And I was like, I was angry. I
That's
was angry,
shots fired. That is
but it was
shots
what I needed to
fired.
hear. It was what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing I find is that, like if look, they don't have time to go through all the teacher bullshit. Right? If there's someone that doesn't want to be there, they'll just won't fucking bother with them, and they'll focus their attention on the
100%.
people that do
Yeah,
want
absolutely.
to learn.
Yeah.
They don't play games that teachers play. They don't they're like, look, if you don't show up, I genuinely don't give a shit. Like, like if you're not showing up and you're not paying attention and you're not like, cool, someone else, the only reason they care is because they're like, you're taking the spot from someone that wants to be here,
Yeah.
and yeah, so like the passion that a lot of these teachers have is crazy. And I, if it's an option for people that are interested in studying music, I do highly recommend it if you have the opportunity to do so, because
Absolutely.
I got so
Yeah.
much out of it, and as we can see, Foulface got a lot out of it too.
Also got some really good advice as well. Like,
Mm.
for example, our teacher Toby, one of the most invaluable things he ever taught me was to manage people's expectations. At the time, I was like, wow, all right, and it's stuck with me these past few years, and it's been a good one to remember.
Yeah,
He's a
I mean,
good
there's so
egg.
much. There's a lot of yeah. Like it's a different type of learning environment than university or school is. It's like
It is.
everyone is
Absolutely.
everyone is there because, and you get a very. I mean, I had a very diverse group that I went through with. Like we had, I wasn't straight out of high school. Like I'd finished high school, I'd attempted to study engineering at university and failed miserably, dropped out of that, spent a bit of time, like 6 months to a year just working, and then went into TAFE. But there was people, there was 16-year-olds straight out of high school. There was
Yeah.
a fucking
Yeah.
there was a fucking 45-year-old guy who had, you know, been a musician his whole life and wanted to come back and study music just to plug some holes in his knowledge and sort of expand his skill base. There was you get involved with people from all sorts of different musical backgrounds that you wouldn't normally engage with, and there's just so much to be learned if you're open to it. I find in that TAFE environment.
Absolutely.
All the
And so-
all the best bands in the world are the ones that diversify. We've said that. We've
Yeah.
said that so many times. They take influence from other styles, other genres, other instruments, and
Absolutely. I loved it as well because they got so much cool amps and different cool techie stuff there as well. So I
Get to
used to
play with
love
all
it
the
because
hot shit, eh? Get to play with all the cool
well,
toys.
they used to have an orange rocker verb in their like recording studio, and that thing, I still think about it. It was amazing, that thing.
Yeah, you loved that
Just
thing.
like
I
I
remember one of the
really did.
first days that they did a tour of the TAFE. The first day Shan saw that rocker verb and he was like, "I'm gonna play that one day." And one of the teachers that he was just doing like the tour, he was like, "Yeah, whatever, in your dreams, bud." And then
Yeah.
like 3 months later, you were playing it and you were like, "Yeah, fuck yeah."
I was like, look at me
Roasted
now.
to the man,
That's
like,
it.
yeah. It was
That's it.
dope. But yeah, TAFE is amazing. And it's kind of my end goal to teach TAFE actually. Like I'm
Cool.
pretty much qualified to teach now, but I'm going to uni kind of to just for my own thing. Like I'm 10 years out of high school, like I worked shitty call center jobs, like I'm for the first time in my adult life, I'm unemployed, and I'm just like, all I'm doing is like studying. I play now, as of Friday, playing 3 bands.
Oh,
Like I want
congratulations.
to do. Thank you. I just want to play music, and yeah, teaching TAFE is like kind of my end goal. I'm just like I want to have that like casual, relaxed learning environment, but be able to like, you know, give
Well, at
my
least,
knowledge to people and
Yeah.
to nurture the talent of like other people who are coming in and yeah, it's just such a fun environment. I would so recommend. I do recommend it to anyone who's
Yeah,
like, I'm
me
thinking
too,
about it. I'm like, oh,
100%.
Absolutely.
do it. Like a cert
Mm.
3 is 6 months of your time, and you
And
won't
the
regret
Cert
it.
3
It's
was
so much
so
fun.
fun. The Cert
So
3 was
fun.
so fun, and like we learned so much. Like even in the
Yeah,
Cert 3, so like, yeah, it was amazing.
And
super relaxed. It's
yeah, and
awesome.
you learn stuff that you didn't think you might need to know about. Like, you go in
Yeah.
Absolutely.
to study, music performance, but you're also touching on the business side. You're getting
Oh yeah.
songwriting stuff. You're getting
Mm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
studio stuff. And like I said, I mean, I was inspired after I'd done some performance stuff to study the tech production side. So in that,
Mm.
you're not only getting, how to set up and tear down a rig, you're getting like an understanding of how a lot of this stuff works on a deeper level. Like in the tech production side, there's literally one of the classes that we had each week was basically studying the physics of sound and electricity to
Yeah.
understand how these systems work. And it's like,
Mm.
and I mean, look, I got very lucky because, as I said, I went into trying to study engineering after I finished high school, so a lot of my high school like electives were geared towards that. So I'd already studied physics, so I already knew all of that shit. But a lot of people were coming in and struggling with that because they hadn't expected it to be part of
Yeah.
what they have to
Yeah.
learn about, right? They're like, it's
Mm.
tech production. It's like you plug some fucking cables in here and there, and off you go. And it's like,
yeah,
no, no,
but
there's a
why?
lot more. There's a lot more to it, and understanding
Yeah,
that
there really
helps
is.
you. Understanding that at a deeper level helps you to do the job better. Um,
Yeah.
Mm.
which is crazy. And like I'm just yeah, like I have so much love for the TAFE structure and the TAFE method of approaching
Mm.
um, these courses. And yeah, highly recommend if you have the opportunity
It's
to
much
do
better
that.
than the University of YouTube, which is what pretty much most of us middle-aged people do these days.
Like, and you can supplement it with that stuff, that for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I think there's a lot of people that think they can get everything
Mm.
that they need off of YouTube, and there's a lot you can get off of YouTube.
there is, but there's
There's a
nothing
lot
beats
you can get, but
hands on.
there's
Yeah.
definitely some
Yeah,
stuff
Mm.
that
there that, and
Absolutely.
you never know.
structure.
You
Yeah.
never know. Like if you go to TAFE in a few years' time, you might, Joey might be passing on her knowledge
Yeah.
to you
Yeah, that's it.
if you're doing that. So, and who doesn't, we all know that the coolest teachers we had were the alternative teachers, right?
Yeah,
Were
Oh
the
yeah.
teachers that had tattoos and piercings and like had the alternative vibes. Like they were always the best teachers.
yeah, or the ones that used to see a big day out with their eyes like dinner plates, going, "Hey, you going, Carl?"
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Ah. So,
Nice.
James, I wanted to ask you, James, a little bit because
Sure.
um, I I don't know if you guys ever caught any skunk bone shows, but something that I enjoyed was working with Zach, our drummer. Is he was very very animated as a drummer, very animated, very cap. Like
Mm.
it was there was a lot happening on but it was as far as drummers go, very very animated and very much like draws the eye there. And I found myself when I was watching you guys experiencing a similar thing when I was watching you guys perform. And you know your drum performance is not just, you know, you're not just playing the drums, you are performing the songs as a part of that. And it was a very very engaging and attention grabbing performance there. Is that something that you've consciously tried to do, or you just, it's the way that you perform, it's just naturally come about?
I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. I guess there's a few things. I'm a pretty shy person, just in general, so I kind of like hiding behind the kit. So, but at the same time, I get you get anxious, but you get excited. So
Mm.
you just kind of release it. It's like release that energy.
Yeah.
So I'm just all over the place. I think I'm also something that I learned at TAFE because I was very anxious. Just kind of focusing on playing.
Hmm.
And something that I learnt was, just to take it easy, relax, slow it down a bit, especially the type of music I like to play. Just feel it and just flow with it.
Hmm.
And then, so once I started learning that, and then um, I, kind of working on that. Something else I do because I'm left-handed, but I play on right-handed kit, so I'm playing open a lot.
Chris,
And I
I that
kind of
style, I
thought
like it.
it's cool. It's different, and I think that's just because I played an electronic kit. My teacher, when I first started playing, back in primary school, was like, "I'm not going to change the kit. You can just figure it out." So I've just stuck with it, and it's easy for shows. So, but then I realized I was like, "Hang on, I can. This looks different in and of itself. So, make it look a bit more flashy, make it look different." And then I think it's just kind of naturally progressed like that to the point where it is a bit animated. Plus, everyone's always laugh. I make a lot of faces when I play. I
Yeah.
think it's I think it's I think that's kind of like I think it's kind of it's a mixture of just I don't realize, but it's also kind of terrifying that I'm going to fuck something up. So I'm like, oh no, and
Yeah.
it's so I think I just keep doing it, and there you go, and it's just become my style. And I think now that I'm conscious about it, I've just kept it and kind of
Yeah.
made it more my thing.
I,
Because you're right, I think the performance is just as important as the music itself.
Yes.
There's a lot of musicians that I think are great musicians, but they're kind of boring to watch. Their stagecraft is a little limited. And I think when you go, you could sit at home and listen to music, but when you go to a show, you want to see something as well. So I've always thought that's a really important part of music, and that's something I like to do as a musician. I think Foulface, we do it well.
Mm.
Just
absolutely.
it's part. So
See, my big thing there
Absolutely.
is like if I want to watch you play the song, I'll watch a playthrough on YouTube.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
If I want to watch you perform the song, I want a performance. Like I want to be entertained.
absolutely.
I want to be. I want to be. Like yeah. I'm not just sitting there trying to watch what you're doing. I'm watching the whole thing. I'm watching the
Yeah.
energy that you're taking away from it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's so like I see it a lot of the time. Like, and I try not to be like I hate that I feel I have to qualify this, but I never want to come across as patronizing. I never want to come across as like, look, I've been doing this for 20 years and so I know better or anything like that. But the amount of people that I see, and like I've said it so many times, since coming up to Queensland and getting out into the scene up here, you know, getting out amongst it again for the first time in several years, seeing so many young bands coming through, and the people that were literally born after I started playing music are now old enough to be playing these fucking shows.
Mm.
Um, the talent that's out there is unquestionable. I don't think I've seen any bands that since in my 3.5 almost 4 years since I moved up here that where the talent wasn't there. The talent's there. Um, the performance is definitely something like that, but yeah, that's the point. Like there's a lot of people I'll see, and the guitarist or the bass player will be stood there like kind of watching their hands the whole time, or the
Mm.
singer will kind of be like hiding behind the microphone and the mic stand, not really moving and not really knowing sort of what to do with themselves. Um, and I guess for drummers, like there's you're trying to focus on a lot more stuff like feet and hands all at once, doing all this different stuff. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a bass player. I can hold a beat when I play the drums, but I can't do any much more than that because it's so many independent, like, it's so much independent limb control that has to be taken into account there. So I can fully, the drummers are about the only people that I can fully understand being like very like watching what they're doing and engaged in what they're doing
No, they
kind of
don't though. That's why I can't
thing.
do it. Like I've got to be like this. My feet. Well, one
But
eye's got to be watching my feet. The other one's got to try and watch my hands.
Yeah.
Like,
but but that's why, like, that's the thing. Like that's why I love seeing a drummer that puts on a performance like that. You know,
mm,
it makes it makes the set feel so much more special. It makes the show that I'm watching feel so much more entertaining, uh, because it's something that you don't see
mm.
all the time.
Yeah.
That's what made Joey
And
Jordison so great. Like,
yeah,
Oh,
and I mean,
absolutely.
and I think that
Absolutely.
yeah. So I really wanted to give you props for that because, like, I mean, obviously
I want
everyone
to
in the
see this
band
now.
performs really really well and puts on a show, but it's always special to see a drummer that is that performative in their playing without being like, I mean, it's not like you're there doing fucking like stick twirls every second fucking hit and doing all of this shit. That's like the almost like pretentious wanky showy offy stuff. It's just
Yeah.
you're
You're
just
having fun.
performing and like you say, being in the
That's
moment
it.
with it. You're being in the moment with it. You're
Fun
being
here.
present with it. You're letting it sort of take you for that ride just as much as you're playing the material, which is like, it's incredible. And I love to see that because it's not something that you see all the time out of drummers.
No, it's good. I'm glad they enjoy it. I think that's the main thing. As I always want people to enjoy it. So, and just have fun. So you get into it, and I think it just comes out. So that's good, and it's good that it comes across.
And I think that's the other thing too is it's getting harder and harder to make people move at shows. Because
Oh,
people are
yeah.
always self-conscious in the crowd and no one wants to be the first one rocking out, but if the band is up there doing it, it makes it that much easier for the crowd to do it.
Yeah,
The crowd's there, they
Absolutely.
want to do it. They want to do it. And there'll always be like, there's always some people at shows that'll kind of do it no matter what, but when the band is getting into it and performing and jumping around and just letting it flow and being kind of a bit crazy and silly with it and not caring what people think, not being self-conscious about it, helps for the crowd to get into it in the same way as well, I think.
Mm.
Um,
yeah, definitely. There's nothing worse than, being at a show where you as an audience member, you can't get into it because 'cause they're just, like,
Yeah.
not giving anything and you're like, "Alright," like, the music's great, but the most I can
You
do
help
is,
me
like,
help you.
nod my
Make me
head.
move. Make me
yeah,
move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's something I take on stage with me all the time, like, I get so much from an audience, but if I'm giving them nothing, like, I can't it's gotta be, like, a bit of a dance between us, like, we
Yeah.
gotta give each other a little bit, and, yeah, the stage is the only time that I don't give a shit about anything except for playing and being silly and being with my friends, so, yeah,
And
With your
sometimes we just do dumb
friends.
things to each other on stage too, like
the
just
dumbest
cause,
shit.
like. And then afterwards, I'm like, why do we do that? That's silly. But then I'm like, we're silly
Yeah.
people, so fuck it, we're silly.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
many times on stage I've been like, "Why did I say that?" But I don't know,
Yeah.
it's part of my charm.
That's it.
yeah.
But
Look,
Or
all
you
musicians are
kick me.
silly.
but
All
I mean,
musicians are silly.
it's punk rock.
You
That's
gotta
what it
be
is,
to do
right?
this.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll. It's punk rock.
Yeah.
It's like rebelling against the system. And look, and your guys' music is absolutely in that vein, right? Like there's songs that are like big middle fingers to various institutions and various
Yeah.
societal groups. Um, and I fucking love it. I love the like it's just that punk rock anger of like I'm pissed off and it's like I'm pissed off and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that energy that I fucking love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
and look at Joey, your performance, your delivery, the way you just like you're dancing while you're singing this stuff as well, which is always makes it that much harder to like you to do. Like I get fucking
Oh,
like
yeah,
I'm
I'm a big girl,
playing bass and moving
that's
around
hard.
a bit on stage and trying to do vocals at the same time. Like I get so fucking gassed doing that. Like
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't be fronting a band doing that shit. No way. Um, and it's yeah, like the conviction with which you deliver a lot of that material is very honest, very real, and that comes through. It comes through
Yeah,
to the
thank you.
performance.
I'm always gonna speak my mind and say what I need to say. Like, I was raised by angry feminists. Like, that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I am. And I I love pushing the boundaries of what people expect to see on stage, and that's why, like I said, I'm a bigger girl. I'm gonna wear little tiny clothes. I'm gonna shake my butt on stage. I'm gonna say the C word. Like I'm gonna challenge these norms, and I think it's because that's what I want to see. I
Yeah.
want to see bands doing that as well, and I'm so inspired by all the sick punk women who came before me, who were just big middle figures to the institution. I love that, and that's all I want to be, and I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna say what I want to say, and I know that it's gonna resonate with people.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's that's why we do it, to get our
Yeah.
message out there, to say what we want to say. And it's sick to be able to have
Absolutely.
the platform and the anger and everything
Mm.
to say it, to get it out. It's really
Yeah.
cathartic.
And look, I mean, I genuinely like I see you guys up there on stage performing the way that you do, and even I, as a cis het white male, feel inspired by the stuff that you guys are performing. So I can only imagine how inspiring it will be for people that fall into more diverse demographics who would be experiencing a lot of issues that I maybe have been privileged enough not to have to experience. I can see absolutely it would be inspiring for for people that fall into those groups on a whole other level than what I was like.
I
I
hope
was
so.
hearing this shit and I'm like not that I'm like not aware of a lot of this stuff, but like I'm hearing it and I'm like fucking fuck that shit. And I'd so yeah, like it's great music for that front, like I said, and I want like
Thank
is
you.
there more like is there plans to get some more stuff sort of out there on
Oh yeah.
Oh,
platforms for people to
yeah,
listen to? Like
100%.
what's is there anything you can
Yeah.
talk about in that regard, or is it all still kind of
Well, I
hush hush at
mean,
the moment?
nothing's
Or
really
is there
Still
hush
just nothing
hush
to
hush.
hush.
talk about?
Yeah. The big thing is money. And that's the the age old, I hear the sighs. It's the age old musician issue. Like, we don't do this because we make a lot of money. We did our whole first year and a half of shows for free because we just wanted to do it.
And we're all
And
TAFE kids and broke,
we were all,
Yeah, that's it.
a lot of us weren't working. It's only now that, we're trying to build this fund so we can go in and record an EP, and we've got an EP planned. We
Hmm.
know what we're doing. We're ready. But it's always, it comes back to money, and we are working our asses off. We really are. We are saving as much as we can, but it's
I've
hard.
also been
It
spending
is
time the
hard.
last few weekends as well doing some writing as well. So I do a lot of writing and demoing for my house. So I think I've reworked a really old demo of ours that we've been wanting to
Yeah.
work on for a while as well. Yeah, was it Manchild? I think you were calling it.
Oh,
So
yep, yep, man
I've
child,
reworked
sick.
that to make it a bit different because I liked it before, but some of the parts I put in there don't really fit. So I was like, I'm going to change this here, change this here. I've also just been working on some other things as well, but I think we'll be, I think we'll, yeah, definitely get some more stuff out. It's just trying to figure out what we want to get out as well, and trying to make them the best they can be because we want them to be really good. You
Yeah,
know, so.
Absolutely.
definitely.
But yeah, money's been a big issue as well, especially when we were like just TAFE babies as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Man,
we
we
were
were
scrounging
so
up
broke,
change to buy
Oh yeah.
$2 7-Eleven coffees, like
Yeah.
and we're lucky enough now as well, like me and the boys, to like we all work now, so we've start working as full time jobs, and sometimes it can be a bit hard. You're grinding away and then come home and you're like, I really want to write something, but I'm also fucked. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
it's also you got to get that balance
Trying
between
to.
everything in,
It is the
which I think
worst thing
I'm
in the
Yeah.
world.
finally. Yeah,
Going
I think I'm
going to those
finally.
places. Oh, no. Go,
Man,
keep
well, I
going.
think I'm
Sorry.
selling your soul.
No, you're right. I think I finally got, the balance getting sorted, because I like my job now, and I'm also, happy and feel a bit more inspired to write. So it's been cool. And I'm keen to
Oh,
jam with the
Always helpful.
homies.
That's
man,
always helpful.
if you have a job
So
you
good.
hate, the hardest thing to do is go and create after you've just spent the last 8 to 10 hours putting on a face
Absolutely.
and then
Yeah.
trying to come back and then
Mhm.
trying to get back into your real
Yep.
self. It's draining.
Well, when you
So
yeah,
like,
when
It's
you
so draining.
I'm really
yeah.
fortunate now that the fact like I don't mind my job now. Like I've worked with
Mm.
some pretty cool people, lots of banter which I thrive on. If there's no
Yeah.
banter, I can't thrive, But
It's his
so
life source, the banter.
yeah, so that aspect of it's been pretty cool, but it is just the grind, every day do the same thing, trying to throw in extra stuff, but
Mm,
getting there.
It's good.
absolutely. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons that Kyle and I sort of quite enjoy doing this podcast. It's one of the reasons we started it because we're so passionate about music, and we want to. It was a great way, I think, for us to continue to engage with the creative process and engage with musicians and have those connections and discuss these things that we are so passionate about um, with from a different approach in a way that was perhaps a bit more doable after you know coming home from
Life.
being after
Yeah.
life and after juggling all that stuff. um, well, look, why don't we dive into our first
I'm
segment
really
we've got
keen
that?
to hear the answers
Yeah,
to a lot
me
of these
Oh,
too.
questions, hey man, because I
Yeah,
reckon we're going to get a lot of firsts here tonight. I
yeah, I
reckon we're
think
going to get some
so.
solid
All
firsts. I'm
right.
going to hit this
W-
cutaway.
When you're ready, hit the cutaway, sir.
That you had you could
Quick
you
question
do
quarter.
you once you could do so you
We're back.
We're back. All right. So basically, this is the quick question quarter spelt with Q's, not K's, because we don't roll like that. And basically, this is where we're just going to go around and talk to our guests here and ask them some very rapid fire questions, learn how they got started, what sort of inspires them, what makes them tick as musicians. So I will leave it up to you guys to decide how you want to, if you just want to kind of go around in a circle in this and who wants to go first with it. But first question off the rank, what was the first instrument you learned to play?
well, technically for me, I played trombone briefly. Like I
I
used the
didn't
word
know
playing
that.
loosely in like
I
year
didn't know
4 and
that.
5.
There you
That's
go.
a, that's a
Let's
first.
pull the trombone out.
Yeah,
Let's
get the
go.
trombone
Trombone
out.
It's been
solo.
years. It's been like since
Doesn't
2002. Like I'll
matter.
do my
We can
best
be.
though.
Yeah,
We
that's
got Viper
fine.
Snatch to
That's
do it. We,
fine.
we got Viper Snatch to do a flute
Yeah,
I'll put
solo.
it through my Kemper as well.
We're gonna
we
get.
made the flute happen in Viper Snatch. We made that happen.
I
So
don't
Look,
care. We're
what
claiming
Yeah.
I
yeah,
it.
we're
I'll
claiming it.
do
I
the
don't.
tr-
Yeah.
I'll do the trombone if I can pitch shift it, like down, like to gent level of
Just
or
do a
just
wah wah.
nastiness.
All we
Yeah,
need, all we need is the wah 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 on the fucking trombone or something.
That's
That's
it.
it.
see what I can do. No promises. It's probably not going to happen.
All right, who's next?
Yeah, I'll
Timbo?
go. Yeah. So the first instrument I ever learned was the piano.
My
So
man.
I learned how to play the piano. I was about 8, and I really wanted to play the drums. And there was a wait list because I grew up in a small town in New South Wales, so they only had one teacher there. There was a few people doing
Okay.
it. So there was a woman, and she was married to like the sheet metal worker, and they had a little shed. So I'd go in there, and she had a piano in there, and I'd learn how to play, and I fucking hated it so much. I did not want to be there. I really did not want to be there. And then as soon as they had a spot for an opening, I left. Never came back. And I didn't get into the piano until I went back to TAFE, and I had to learn how to play it. And now I quite like it. So it's kind of funny it came full circle.
It's a good foundation. It really is. There's a lot that you can
Absolutely.
learn from learning piano about music across a range of stuff. I find because
Mm,
you've got not like necessarily the full spectrum of notes, but you've got like an 88 keys. You've got several octaves to choose from. You're dealing with bass and melodies. You're dealing with still got to get your rhythm stuff down.
mm,
You got to read music. You have to learn degree of theory around it. There's so
yeah.
much that comes with learning piano that gives you a really incredible foundation. That again, I mean, like going into TAFE, right? We talked about it before. I had experience on piano, which meant when we were in the computer labs with the keyboard set up in there, I knew how that worked. A lot of people didn't. So there's a lot of foundation to be had there.
Yeah,
All
definitely.
right. So Joey, what was your first one?
Before I even knew how to sing, I played drums. I was like a classically trained drummer for like
Oh wow.
7 years. My dad's like been a drummer for probably like 40 plus years. And I asked him to put me in lessons and he did. And then my mum's a singer. And then probably like probably did that, yeah, for like 6 years maybe, and then asked my mum to put me in singing lessons, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I can kind of sing," and yeah. But yeah,
No, no, I know what went
I'm
through
a
your
drummer.
head. I know what went through your head. You went, I can still do music and not carry all this gear around. I'm doing that.
I can be in the front of the stage instead of the back. Sign me up.
I I maintain to this day that singers should have to carry the merch.
I
That's what
do.
I
I always
maintain.
help you with the
I
drums,
did.
don't I, Jimbo? I'm
That is
always
true.
like,
That
"Give
is
me a
true.
drum
I
Joe's
used to
always
help Maddie.
helpful.
I used to help Maddie with the drums. So I used to help Maddie.
Good, good. Yep.
And
Help
Joe's
with the
good. She
drums
also
and all the
helps.
merch.
Yeah, she helps
I
with
help
my
with the
guitar
beats.
stuff. Yep, yep.
I'm a good roadie.
Joe's a good tech. She's a good
I'm a
hand,
good tech.
brother.
Where was that? Where was that when I was doing bands? When I was in Tensions Arise? No, I love you, Kaz. I realized you were doing other shit. What was the next question? What was the first album that you purchased?
Or Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park.
Oh, okay.
That was the
Okay.
first one I purchased with my own money.
Love it.
Yes, yes. He understood the assignment.
I've recently started relearning that album again because I like it because there's two different tunings in there, so I can mess with my Kemper a bit and I just have a get a bit vibey and play through it. Bit of fun.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
So the first album I ever bought with my own money was the Tenacious D self-titled album.
We are 2 for 2 today.
Solid.
Yeah, I went into JB Hi-Fi and I bought it, and they said, "Oh, you might need a parent." So my dad's like, "I don't give a fuck. Sell it to him. I don't care." And we listened to it. I think I burnt it out in my dad's car listening to it every time we went around anywhere.
Then out of
That's
nowhere,
so
he goes walking past the room. It's like "Fuck It Gently" comes on. He's like, "What the
Yeah.
shit is going on
Yeah,
here?"
that's it.
You're going away and you're coming back just for in time for Tenacious D, I think.
Yeah, so the day after I come back, I'll be the day after I come back will be Tenacious D. So I'm like, I don't care how tired I am, jet lag, whatever. I'm going. That's
Yeah.
it. I need to go. I've been
Awesome.
waiting to see them since I bought that album. So and saw the movie, which was around the same time. So I'm very keen.
I haven't seen him live either. I was gonna go and see him many years ago, when I was still living in Sydney, but I think I kind of left it a bit late, and the tickets were like the only tickets available were right at the back of the room, like seated way at the back of the room, and it was the same price as all the other tickets in the venue, and I'm like,
rough.
Yeah,
rough, so-
fair. That's fair.
But yeah, getting to see him this time around, which is cool. That's awesome though. That's really cool. Joey, what was your first album that you purchased?
Pretty sure mine was the Toxicity album by System of a Down.
Solid,
Hell
just
yeah.
3 for 3.
Three
for
bangers out of
3.
3. That's fucking
Jeez.
winning. I
You know
love
the
that.
cool thing is, it's
that
like
album is
That's that's pretty close to a perfect album. That is.
It is.
I would agree with that.
I don't think
yeah,
there's
it is
many
pretty
songs
high
on
up
that
there
that
for
I'm
me.
not super into. Which is yeah, it's pretty rare that you've come across those. But
there's no other band that had one album that had such a big impact on a generation. There are 3 that I can think of that are bangers in that sort of era. And that's Seven Dust Home, Chocolate Starfish, Hot Dog Flavor Water, and
Oh,
System
hell
of a
yeah.
Down.
Of course.
Yep.
And those you don't need to skip nothing. You just put them on and let them go.
Absolutely,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah.
Great. That's great.
Yeah, that album
Okay.
still holds a special place in my heart.
Wonderful. Well, could we, get a cover in the live set maybe?
I've been trying. I would like to say that.
Yeah,
I want to
we've
cover
been talking
System of a
about
Down.
that for a while.
Yeah,
You know what?
absolutely.
I've always had this theory.
Why don't
Any band that starts out needs to have one cover. And I'm not
Oh,
saying that you guys
100%.
started out because it just
I think
if
it's good
no
to have a
one's
few, like,
biting
Yeah.
and you throw it in the middle,
See,
you can at least
yeah,
have that
that-
second shot and then
my-
finish them off at the end.
That's
with the
what we did with
originals.
Deftones for so long.
Here's my thing, right?
Deftones was our
Which song?
We covered
My
My Own
Summer.
Summer.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
Change.
you.
We did
We
cover
did
Change
in
in the House of
S03.
Glass for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you
And
guys heard?
Grimes.
Have you
And
heard?
Grimes.
Have y'all heard the mashup of Change by Deftones with Toxic by Britney Spears?
Yes.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I have. I
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
love it.
it's fucking
I
sick.
I think
Should we
I
cover
think
that?
y'all should do that. I think y'all should do
That
that.
would be sick.
So it starts
Well,
out and everyone's
we
like,
like all
"Oh
that
yeah!"
stuff
Everyone's
too,
like,
you know?
"Fucking Deftones,
Mm.
yeah, fuck yeah!" And then you're coming in with the "Baby, can't you see?"
Yeah. Well, we've
Oh,
talked about
man.
doing like stuff like
Let's
that
do
as well.
it.
Like we've talked about doing like Veronicas in the past. We've covered Grimes as
Yeah.
well. So I mean, I'm
Covered a lot of
definitely down to cover
Grimes.
some Britney.
I
That'd be
yeah,
sick.
like look, my thing, right? Like I've always thought, and this is something we tried to do with Skunkbone, is having covers repertoire. So you've got not just one, like obviously you start out with just like one or two, that just because you can't, you want to put your energy into originals, right? But you've got a couple of covers, so just so you've always got an extra in the bank. And like if you get to the end of your set and it's like, something's going on, like we need you to play a little longer. If you've got covers that you just know and you can pull out at any time, you can drop one straight away, even if you don't have
We
any more
planned for
original
that.
stuff.
Yeah,
And
we
Yeah.
plan for that every time.
and
If we're like,
you're
oh, we're
like,
racing through the set, I'll turn around and be like, James, we're putting in My Own Summer, we're putting in break
yeah,
stuff, and you're like,
Oh yeah, we're
alright.
putting in Limp Bizkit.
yeah.
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 But and having a
Chuck a Limp
variety
Bizkit.
helps as well, because then you can tweak it to the crowd, right? Like if you're in there and you're seeing like a bit, you get a, maybe let's say you get on a bill and you're like, you don't realize until you get there that maybe you're kind of the odd ones out, right? And that can be good, but also it means sometimes the crowd isn't necessarily on your vibe. So then, but you've got a cover that will be like right in the fucking thing of what they're doing, right? And so you can just rip
Yeah.
that one out, or because it's I find it can be difficult if you've only got one cover, even if you do it really well, because people will be like, "Oh yeah, I love this band. They do a great cover of whatever," instead of people vibing on your original stuff. And it's
Yeah.
catch 22. It's a catch
Yeah.
22. There's good and bad
It
stuff
really
about it,
is.
but that's what we tried to do with Skunkbone, was build up a bit of a repertoire there so we could have different covers at different times. Um, but yeah, continuing with the theme of firsts, what was the first live concert that you attended?
Mine was probably some. So from being Gimpy, I went to the Gimpy Muster one year, and so I saw
I have
like
no sound for Shan.
I saw like Shannon Knoll, I saw Evermore, I saw Kiss Chasey, which is weird because Kiss Chasey and Evermore aren't typically country bands that would play in Gimme Bell 16. Those two
Yeah, that
bands,
was
they were
alright.
actually, it was quite inspiring actually being a young fella. I was like, that Kiss Chasey band's pretty sick. I want to go see them again and play some loud music.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't think we've have anyone say
No, we've had that's a first.
that one
Kiss
first. So there you
Chasey,
go. That's a first.
Yeah, it's good. It's like part of my core memories still to this day.
Love it. That's great.
My first big show that I ever went to was Green Day.
Nice.
When they came out with the Revolution Radio tour. So I saw them with the Interrupters open with them, and they're like a ska band. And they do a lot of covers and stuff. And so I saw them, and I thought they were pretty awesome. You know, I loved Green Day, and Green Day, one of those bands that helped me get into music where I am now. So it was always awesome to see them, and they put on a good show. And it was
Where was that at? Why is my shit doing this? It just froze again. Hold on.
it was fun.
Okay, hold on. There we go. So, where was that at again? No, fucking Windows 98. Oh, I'm gonna fucking try close some shit. Not stealing internet.
Oppo phone that I got, and I wasn't sure how it was going to hold out, but it's holding up all right. I'm impressed.
Good.
Okay, hold on. Is the half coming back?
Hell yeah.
Slowly getting there.
Okay, I've just turned my Wi-Fi, so it's not using my modem. Yeah, where was that at? What concert? Where'd you see that show at?
So they were at the Sydney Olympic Park. So they were across. There's like I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh
But
yeah,
there's like a stadium across the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw them there. I travelled because I lived past like Campbelltown. So I lived out in the rural. So I took after school. I got the train. It took me like 2 hours to get out there, and
mate.
it was all worth it.
I'm out near Oran Park.
Oh, true.
Yeah. I grew up in like St. Clair, Penrith,
Yeah, yeah.
Blacktown sort of region. So
Absolutely.
What was
Yeah.
the town in, James? I always forget the name of it.
I lived in a place called Picton. So
Yeah, that's where I went
yeah.
skydiving.
You know what?
yeah, they got
I'm
the
about
skydiving one out
I'm
near the
about
highway.
half hour out of there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I
yeah,
think
no.
It ain't that rural no more, bro. Let me tell you.
Tension-
No,
Rise,
it's
I
not.
think
It is.
our,
It's not. It's changed quite a bit since I lived there.
I think first Tensions Arise EP might have been recorded out near there as well. We had a mate of ours, his parents had a property out there where they had, because they did like Shetland pony train things with like for carnivals and stuff. So they had the property out there, and he had a studio set up in a corner of the barn, basically. So like we're in the vocal booth and we can hear sheep on the other side of the wall. Like
That's a bit different
yeah,
from the Roots album.
it was a little bit, but yeah, no, it's yeah, very very familiar with that region out there.
Yeah, sick.
All right, and yeah, so Joey, what was your first one?
I grew up a greasy little pop punk kid for a while, so my first big band was The Story So Far. Came to Brisbane when I was like 17. I think I was like a few months off of being 18, went to a all ages show and saw them and like Man Overboard.
That's dangerous.
That is such a punk name.
Yeah,
That
in
is
the
the
pop
most
punk
punk
scene,
name.
that's a
Yeah, in the
little
pop
bit.
punk scene, going to
Bro.
shows, that's like
The Story
that's
So
risky.
Far, that's just how much more pop punk do you want to get?
Yeah, I loved them. I still have a special place in my heart for them as well. But yeah, that was my first. I don't even really listen to them anymore, but it's still, it's my
Look,
first gig. It was a nice
nothing
time.
nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of. All
No,
that stuff makes you who you are today.
exactly.
For sure.
It all
And-
leads you to the music that you do now, which is what's it's all part of a rich tapestry, right?
That's it.
And I'll go and
Absolutely.
I'll say this, and I've been in plenty of bands. I don't do it anymore, but as far as I'm concerned, all band names suck.
Oh, absolutely.
All band. I'm sorry, you could be the coolest band, and your band name sucks. Exist within, it sucked. Axiom, it sucked. Like those were my bands, so I'm going to throw them straight out there. Like they all just suck. Nuclear Vision is actually pretty cool. Like the only reason why I say that is because of the way you spell it. Like that's actually
It's a
but
nice
for
pun,
the
yeah.
most part,
It's just I think
it's only cool when
really,
it's only
really
cool
hard.
when the people love it.
It's really hard to come up
People
with a
make
good
it
band
cool.
name that's unique and
Corn, that name
interesting and-
sucks.
It's-
Oh,
Love the band. Your name sucks, dude.
Well, if we're done trash talking one of the biggest bands in metal, let's get back. What's an instrument that you've always wanted to learn but haven't had the opportunity yet?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, I want to get more into synths and weird stuff like that, I think, in the future, because mess with like MIDI keyboards and stuff, I really want to get into analog synths. That's my next thing.
Nice.
I like it.
I'd say mine is mine's the bass. So I've always wanted to learn how to play bass. At one point, it was either going to be bass or the drums. I chose the drums. So I just want to pick up just learn it. I think it's cool because it's a rhythm instrument, and I just like it. They just sound cool.
I reckon you'd be a weapon on the bass. I reckon
Yeah.
you'd be
Absolutely,
absolute gun, absolute gun with it. Like, rhythm is the majority of it. It really is. I often describe it as translating between rhythm and melody, or translating between drums and guitar. Like it's such a like if you've and the rhythm side of it is so important, and that's where I think a lot of people that start playing the instrument, if they move on to it from the guitar side of things, they just don't get. And it's so easy to have and I call it not in a derogatory sense necessarily, but I call those people, and I was one, so I fall into this category. I call them like those failed guitar players, not in the sense of like they can't play guitar, but like it's people look at bass as easier because it's got less strings and you're only playing one note at a time and blah blah blah. And there's this mentality of thing. Um, but
Unless you're bead,
Oh
you're,
yeah, that's a lot.
you're
bead
transitioning
playing
into
like
it from
chords on the bass.
yes,
Or
which
tap
is yeah, like
close.
this that
It's
when you talk to that guy, give him props from me because like very very impressive with his work there. But yeah, I think
He's
and
like
he's a
wow.
guitarist.
I think coming at it from the rhythm side is I think you'd be great with it, to be honest with you.
No, absolutely, yeah, that'd be cool.
And Joey,
I lost sound right as you asked the question.
uh,
Can you please
that's
repeat the
okay.
question for me,
It
though?
was what's an instrument that you've always wanted to learn?
Ooh. I bought a theremin about a year ago, and then I sold it after maybe even 4 months because I couldn't get the hang of it. But I'd love to be able to whip out just the sickest shit on a theremin.
Mm.
All I could do was like woo, 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 woo noises, and Shannon wouldn't let me take it on stage. But
I think it like see, I look at a theremin the same way because like I for a while for a long time I wanted to learn cello, um, and I look at theremin in a similar way that I look at that string family of instruments because you've not got distinct markers as to where you need to
Mm,
put your shit, right? Like
Right.
yeah,
it's they're not the stringed instruments like there's no frets, so you really need to have you really need to have great pitch and understand your positioning within the space of the instrument. I feel like
oh
theremin
yeah,
would be the same challenge. Like you've got to be so precise with where
And
you're putting your
also
hand to
with the
get that note.
theremin as well as the theremin, I think is also the way you stand, where it's positioned in the room as well can affect it.
Mm,
Because
yeah.
stuff,
I had to calibrate it every time I moved
yeah,
it.
it's wild. It blew my mind.
And the
yeah,
fact that I think it even goes like one step further than like a cello or a violin,
mm,
for example, where you're not even touching that shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
Like you are
exactly.
literally just, and the finger movements are like
Yes,
tiny, teeny tiny. All I wanted to do was play the fucking Star Wars theme. I
yeah.
couldn't even get
The
a
Star
perfect
Trek
fifth in
intro.
there. It was not happening. It's
that's
so hard.
crazy.
I'd
Okay.
love to give it another go, but goddamn,
Yeah, it's a
alien
lot. It's very.
instrument.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be extremely
You can
challenging.
tell a musician made that was like, I'm going to make an instrument that is not only challenging, but just annoying. So
And you gotta
hardly anyone's going to use it.
and you gotta have everything right in like four
Yeah.
dimensions to make it work. It's fucking
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
So if you want to
Okay.
play this, you got to commit.
you
Um,
do. I didn't have the time.
if you could pick one big band or artist to open for Foulface to open a show for,
Oh,
now this is like there's no rules on this, right? So it's living or dead, active or not, whatever period in their career you could choose. Like if you could just break the laws of space time and have Foulface open for one big band or artist, and then like you just band finishes the next day, um, who would it be?
like, it's a hard one because I got two. I got an older one and a modern day one.
Go
Okay, well,
do them. Just do them.
Modern day, it's got to be Slipknot. Got
Oh,
to be.
okay.
that'd be
Okay.
cool.
And then, like from back in the day, it'd have to be Van Halen. For me, anyway. It'd be one of those two. Like,
Solid.
yep, strong
yeah.
choices.
So mine, so I've got one in mind. It's the only one, that always comes to mind is there's been Hailstorm, HAL Storm.
Fuck yeah, yep.
Because I always credit them. Without me finding that band, I wouldn't be a musician, a live musician. They made me think about music differently, and RJ Hale's drumming is incredible, and also made me interested. I grew up where I grew up. There wasn't a lot of women in music, so to find a band like that was pretty incredible. So, and I think we would suit opening for them. So it would be Hailstorm 100%. I think I would collapse on the ground wheezing if I had to meet them, play a great show, and then I'll be like, I don't have to be a musician anymore. That's done. I
Yeah.
can go rest.
I've reached Mount Everest. I've reached the summit. I've reached the peak. That's it. Okay.
Exactly it.
Yep.
I think I'd have to say Kitty.
Nice.
Just
Yeah.
like, Love
Yes.
Kitty, love
Nice.
the pissed off feminist energy, love everything about him. So yeah, Kitty.
Nice. What did you think of the new
Solid.
song?
Yes, I'm fucking still on what is that album? I'm still stuck on like Do You Think I'm a Whore and Choke and fucking Spit. You Can Eat a Dick, like that whole album.
Mm.
Incredible,
Yeah.
incredible. Is it the Eyes Wide Open?
Yeah. Eyes Wide Open, the new one, yeah, that they
Yeah,
put out.
yeah, yeah. Sick. I love them.
Yeah, I think it's very cool comeback from that team. Even if I think I don't know about on Spotify, but on YouTube Music, it actually landed under a different thing. Like it's created a new artist for them. I don't know if it's a
Right.
label. I don't know if it's a label thing
Right.
or
Maybe
what.
it is.
Maybe it's a label thing.
Yeah.
Um, all right, time. Speaking of Spotify, and YouTube Music, it's time to break out your playlists. Who is a band or an artist that you're listening to at the moment that you believe is underrated and deserves more attention?
Make them suffer.
Mm.
I am
Oh,
obsessed with Make Them
classic.
Suffer again at the moment. I was
Yep.
devoed because I was going to good things back in December, but had a bad cold, like a bad flu, just wiped me out. So I didn't end up going. But there's like heaps of bands. Like I wanted to see Limp Bizkit, 'cause I love them. You got loads of other bands, but I was just like keen to see Make Them Suffer again because it's been so
They
long since I've seen them, and I was
they
like,
were
devoted.
fucking they were amazing. They were so
Yeah,
good.
but I'm seeing them next month with Sleep Token, so I'm fucking
Oh,
so. I've been listening to nothing but Make Them Suffer and Sleep Token lately. I'm ready.
Mm.
yes.
Yeah, no, they did a
Nice.
great job up on that stage, and they did not seem like.
Yeah.
I always love it when you get Aussie bands up there and they're not like the first, like they're not playing the fucking opening slot
Yeah.
on the day. They're a bit later into it, and they don't
Mm.
seem out of place. It doesn't feel like anything's dropped
Yeah.
off of that. Like that's why I loved it. Like that tent setup, that stage, that's second stage setup there
Yeah.
was like where you had bands like Make Them Suffer, and you had Stand Atlantic
Behemoth.
got up there and
Yeah.
just fucking like owned that shit. Like
Yeah.
I love
And
seeing
it
the Aussie bands get up there on those.
fucking hot under there too, and they just send it every time.
It was
Like,
fucking
Oh yeah.
atrocious.
and
I don't know
It
how
was
Stand
feral.
Atlantic got up there in those fucking tracksuit pants, like
yeah, I saw
tracksuits
pictures
and
of
thing.
them.
I'm just like, yo, they're crazy.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
Make Them Suffer. That's a good one. If you're not paying attention to Make Them Suffer, definitely go and check them out.
what are you doing if you laugh if you're not? You know what I mean? They're just
Mm.
sick.
So mine's pretty obscure. So there's I would say there's a band called Cellar Darling. One of my
Okay.
favorite bands. They're like a prog band, but they use a lot of like Scandinavian folk.
Hmm.
And yeah, and the lead singer she uses a hurdy-gurdy, and they have this yeah, it's sick.
You might
They
like
have
I got a recommendation for you in a second, but sorry.
yeah. No, I was gonna say there's like they've got some great songs, but there's just like a song where it's like this cool rock song, and then she pulls out this amazing like hurdy-gurdy solo, and
Mhm.
it's mixed in with like a guitar solo, and it's really great. They're absolutely fantastic. They're from Switzerland, I think, and they're not really known that much, they're amazing. One of my
There you
favorites. I think
go.
they should be around
Check
everywhere.
Nice.
out Cellar
Nice.
Darling.
Yeah, if you like that, I saw the description from what you were telling me there.
Yeah.
You should check out a band if you don't already know them. Now, I'm gonna butcher this pronunciation, but I think it's Saw, Saor. Um,
Yeah.
it's basically combines a lot of traditional, like Celtic and Scottish folk instruments with black metal.
Oh wow.
And I think early on it was like one dude doing all of it. Um, so like I actually only found out about him because I watch way too much YouTube. And I watch a lot of the like the what culture stuff, and one of the guys on
Yep.
there was recommended. He's Scottish, and he's like, oh yeah, like my mate, I'm gonna plug my mate's band here. This is his band, like they do this, and I checked him out, and I was like, it's amazing. So I think if you like Cellar Darling, from what you've told me about them, I think you'll like those guys. So
Oh, I'll have to check them out. They sound sick. That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
all right, Joey, what have you got?
Um, I'm gonna go with a band called Volatile Ways. Um, like a deathcore sort of band that I saw. They opened in Brizzy for Acacia Strain when they were here. And all of Acacia Strains, they had three, like an opener and two support bands, and they were all female fronted, and they were just mad cunts. The little band from Newcastle, I think. Hottest front chick ever, who was just in like a tiny shirt and tiny bike shorts and her Crocs. She was just sick and had a killer voice. And I think looking at their Spotify, I think they've got like under 9,000 monthly listens on Spotify, but they're very cool.
Oh, that's something
Volatile
to check out.
Ways.
Volatile
Love it.
Ways.
Love it as
Yeah.
well. Have you ever heard of a band called Chainsaw Mascara?
Chainsaw Mascara. No, but that is what my mum calls the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She always calls it the Chainsaw
So
Mascara.
Nice.
Chainsaw Mascara were a band from around Wollongong area and in New South Wales, and they were very like female fronted, like punk rock type shit. They would come out, but they also had a lot of like it was very punk rock, but they also had some what's the word? I had the word a second ago and I've lost it. But it blended in a lot of other stuff with it as well. And so they would like she would come out at the start of this. Like the band would get up and start playing a song, and she would kind of come out from backstage, revving a fucking chainsaw, like with the chain taken
Yes.
off. The chain was taken off, but she's like running around inside the venue, petrol chainsaw, like revving the fuck out of it, gassing everyone with
Dope.
the fumes. And then they'd be up on stage, and basically it was almost like an extended punk rock burlesque performance. Like over the course of the
Sick.
show, she'd be like, getting more of her kit off, and by the end of it, she'd be down to like fucking tape, X in tape over the nipples, and like, like fishnets and G-string and stuff on there, and it
Sick.
was like, yeah, like punk rock burlesque performance art, like
Oh, I'm so into
craziness.
that. Chainsaw Mascara.
Yes, Chainsaw Mascara. I don't know if they're still I don't think they're still active. I have no idea if they've got anything online. But if you can find anything on YouTube from them,
I'm gonna
they
have a
might
little
be
squiz because that sounds like it's so up my alley.
it. Yeah, like I don't. Yeah, I'm not finding anything on YouTube Music, but
I've got
they
a I've
might
got a
have.
Facebook page, but it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
pretty dead.
Yeah,
But
pretty dead there. But yeah, if you can find anything from them, I think it might be up your alley for sure. Um,
definitely.
all right, now we're getting to the pointy end here, so this is getting a little thing. What is something people may be surprised to learn about you?
Ooh. But I'm not a bad cook.
Nice.
It's pretty basic, but that's the only thing I can think
Hey,
of.
look, this is the thing. People are always surprised that I know that I'm a decent cook. And I'm like, I'm an adult. Like I need to learn.
Yeah, we got to
Like,
feed ourselves.
I'll post something like on Snapchat or whatever. I'll be like, oh yeah, just cooking dinner, posting a thing, whatever. And people are like, oh, it's so domesticated. I'm like, I'm an adult. Like I need to know how to cook. It's a
Yeah.
life skill. Like, why are people surprised
There's like a
that
whole
I can
channel
do?
dedicated to this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a thing where I'm just like, yeah, it's a life skill, And
Absolutely.
I think everyone should know how to cook, at least some stuff.
Absolutely.
It's not that hard.
Definitely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to diminish your thing or anything there. I'm just like it's
No, you're all good, man.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to to cook?
Dull.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've got some of my
I
family were
have
from
had his dal
India.
before. It's
Yeah, so I grew up on it because some of my family are from India.
Yeah.
So I learned how
Me
to.
too.
I had to hell yeah, I had to learn like how to like wash lentils and stuff growing up, and then my dad used to always feed it to me and loved it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's my go.
What
That and jalfrezi potatoes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, man. Bit of dal and rice and jalfrezi potatoes, man. You're sending me back to my childhood.
yeah, yeah. What a feast!
love it.
Mine's kind of basic as well. I mean, just I'm trying to rack my brain, but I like sport. I mean, a lot of people that know me don't. When they meet me, I'm like my history, my games and music, and everyone's but I watch a lot. I like sport. And the only people that really know that, I guess, are my family because they see me do it. But and I like that sort of stuff, I guess. And it's people are always shocked to find that out. It's like, oh,
This is what I
true.
don't
Yeah,
get.
What
This is what I don't
sports?
get. Sports. Being a sports fan is nerdy as fuck.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
absolutely it is.
You know all their names. You know all their stats. You want to dress up like them. You want to do the thing. It's like people.
That's exactly.
Being a sports fan is nerdy as fuck. I'm sorry.
That's it, man.
No, it really is the same with like car fans and all stuff. I like them too, and you can know how like like revving and and parts and how it goes and how fast they can go and different things do different all sorts of stuff. And it's like you guys are nerdy as fuck, way nerdy than I am, and I'm pretty nerdy, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, no,
What's your
absolutely.
main sport that you enjoy?
I like football. I used to play it a lot, like NRL. I like rugby
Yeah.
as well, but I don't know the rules as much. But I still enjoy watching it. I don't mind F1. My housemate, yeah, F1. It's great. I was never interested, and my housemate he just gets obsessed about things, and he forced me to watch this documentary on Netflix.
Drive to
Um,
Survive.
yeah, I think it was that one, and
Have,
I was like,
have,
"Wow, this is the most interesting thing I've ever come across. I would not have expected it." So I like F1. I like UFC as well. I kind of like blood sports, people punching on. I'm not a violent person, but if get in a ring and punch on, and I'm like screaming for their death, what I mean, knock
Yeah.
them out.
Hey,
It's great.
if it's one on one and it's in a controlled environment, I'm all
Yeah.
for people getting into a scrap.
Absolutely, me too. I think it's great, and like the I always find like boxing training interesting that you train for so long just to get in a ring for like 10, 15 minutes and how much stress your body goes under just by
Yeah.
doing it.
Yep.
And
Even
just
making weight.
and that's it. And think it's something that people. So I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent, but something that people don't think about. It's like you're training and you need to be fit because yes, you can do all these things, but as soon as you get punched in the head, you go into fight or flight. So you need to condition yourself to be able to still do these things and think quick while you're freaking out because you think you're going to die. So I find that very interesting. I think that's amazing, and the people that do it for a living, I think that's fantastic. So I find that interesting as well. So a lot of those sports.
That's awesome.
That's why
See,
I'll have to hit you
musicians
up
can be
for my,
sports fans.
I'll have to hit you
Absolutely,
up
they
for my
can.
NRL
Yeah.
tipping comp at work because I'm doing first for the first round I'm doing abysmally in the tipping comp at work on the NRL.
Bro,
so-
everyone is. Everyone did shit this week.
I
Bro,
just-
I took my kids to the game. I'm a Bulldogs fan. I live in a house full of fucking Parramatta fans.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
So
Ooh, that's not a good time.
both my kids and my wife and I spent overs on these tickets because I effed around and whatever. And then I went and mate, I don't mind paying if there's a contest. But what happened yesterday was not a contest. I was mate. My daughter's like the whole way home.
Rough.
That's a
Absolutely.
tough one. What about you, Joey?
I guess mine's a little bit different, and particularly how I carry myself on stage. I'm a very like insecure person, and I don't like attention, which is funny because when I'm on stage, I like go into this mode where I am not myself. I'm not my body. I'm not my issues. I'm not anything. I'm just like there as a vessel to provide my music. Um, but yeah, I'm like very shy. Kind of had to train myself to get out of that a little bit. Medicating my ADHD helps a lot. And also, I guess, looking the way that I look, I get a lot of comments on my tattoos and my piercings, and I'm always like, thank you, but like, stop looking at me. I'm like, yeah, pretty insecure in my everyday life.
But I think that's something that we've had from
A lot.
a lot of front people before. Is they've
Mm.
they've kind of expressed that, and I think it's like for most people, even if they are generally introverted, there's still a desire to, I guess, dabble in the more extroverted side from time to time, because we're generally, as people, we need balance in these things, and it's I see it so much in musicians and performers where, because we get that out on stage, we like that's as much as we need. Like, we can get that out on
Yeah.
stage and then we're good. We're good
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we're good until the next show. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and I've seen, like, a lot of that's definitely something that is like, and I hope that you don't feel like an outlier in that, because it's so common, I find, with a lot of musicians and a lot of, especially front people.
Definitely.
Um,
Well, I
you know,
think probably you could probably put that in the 60 or 70% mark, that we at least have a handful of musicians that
yeah,
regularly play shows that feel that exact
I mean,
way. We get it
you
every
know,
week. We probably get it every
yeah,
week.
like, I'm friends with Kid Crusher, who does a lot of, like, the psycho clown juggalo stuff, mixed, like, blends it with heavy metal and all that as well. And he is, you know, very, I get off stage, very quiet, very introverted, whatever. But he gets up there and he just is this fucking absolute maniac for like an hour while he's on stage doing that shit. And it's
Yeah.
such, yeah, it's crazy. It's just like, it's you really kind of put on it. Well, you're either putting on or taking off a mask. Sometimes it feels like you
Yeah.
don't know which is which
Yeah. It's hard
with it.
to even differentiate kind of
You get to
which
unleash a
one.
little bit.
Yeah.
Mm.
But it all boils down
That's
to the
awesome.
art, isn't it? Once you know that, and it's
Yeah.
the other people that rely on you to get up there and do your job as well.
Absolutely.
So it's a whole cohesive unit. So it's not. I guess if it's just like not in Kid Crusher sort of case, but in your lot's case, that it's you got to do it for the art. You got to do it for your platform. You got to do it to send the message. So that trumps all insecurities. That trumps any way you feel that day. As soon as that foot hits the stage and the mic hits the hand, the old whatever's going on just sucks out of your body, and
Yep.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
the
get to,
real
you get to
the,
And
oh,
if
that's the
yeah,
real you. It's a drug. It's a drug. It is.
it's
It's
so
so
cathartic. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
cheaper and way funner than therapy.
Oh,
Therapy's great.
100%.
Everyone should go to therapy, but
It's
everyone
We'll
should
start a
also
not
play
podcast.
on a stage.
not as effective long term. Not as effective long term as
It's
therapy.
only
Well,
Still go
short.
to
It's
therapy.
short. You
last,
start a
all right.
It is.
weekly podcast and start talk to musicians.
Yeah. Last question before we move on. There, what is your worst music sin?
Oh, I mean, ah, some people think it's a sin, but like listening it to Evanescence, like, man, a lot of people they're like, what the hell? But I think they're pretty dope. So I
Cool.
guess that's my musical sin.
Cool.
I, I think mine. I think mine probably isn't. I don't practice enough. Maybe. Um, I
Maybe. I like the
yeah,
baby at the
maybe.
end.
Yeah, I think so. I just sometimes I get a bit lazy, and something I have done in the past is I can listen to a song and kind of just come up with something and play it. So sometimes I think, maybe I don't need to practice it enough, and then I'll get into the jam room. I'm like, well, maybe I do a little bit. So sometimes I can drop behind a bit. I should be practicing a bit more than I should. I think.
Well, look, at least you know, and knowing is half the battle.
That's
But
it.
That's
not the
exactly
half.
it.
But
Self-awareness,
not the
man.
half that matters.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
God, I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't know what my biggest sin is.
It's
I
a
feel
really
like
good
maybe, yeah, it is. I'm like, man, I need like a couple hours to think about this. Um,
That's why we put you on the spot, so you don't have time to think about it.
Yeah.
yeah, Jesus. I guess it's
We
not
can't
really a
help you
sin to
now.
me, but I guess it would be a sin to some people. But like what you were talking about before, the Deftones and Britney thing, I love metal, I love heavy shit, but I also fucking love pop music. I love Britney, I love Kylie Minogue, love Madonna.
I'm a
I love
big fan of Megan Trainor. Like,
mhm,
I
mhm.
love it.
I love walk into uni in my platform goth boots looking like this, and then in my headphones I'm listening to like Kylie Minogue and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's good. No, I love it. I think that's one of the like I have like look. I went through a teenage phase of like being very gatekeepy and like I can only listen to metal. Like I can't listen to anything. And then
Yeah.
We all did it.
most of us
We
grow
all
the fuck
did.
out of it. Most of us grow out of it. But I love like mashups and shit. I'm all about that. And the more like diametrically opposed the songs being mashed up are, the better.
Yeah.
I just love that shit. I love stuff that
Have
breaks
you
the
heard
rules.
the it's Dragula by Rob Zombie, the Rock Lobster by B-52s, and
Yep.
I think it might be Toxic again.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that mashup. That just Rob Zombie and Britney,
Yeah.
amazing. Love it.
Yeah.
Brittany
Yeah.
gets a lot of artists say. Like, I remember
Yep.
growing up, I had this random CD I got given from my sister, I think, and it had like a mashup of Faints by Linkin Park and Toxic by Brittany, and it was just so good.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
I
Like
think
her
Toxic
stuff
is
is
just a
very
classic.
a
Yeah.
lot of Britney's music falls into that very formulaic pop music category, and most pop music fits within a very narrow range of keys and tempos and chord progressions. So if you will find that it works really well. I mean, like we've all pretty much. I'm sure we've all heard four chord song by Axis of Awesome.
Yeah.
We how much stuff goes together like that. It's the fundamentals of music don't change, and that's why shit kind of work. The shit that works.
Yeah, well, look what
Um,
happened with old bloody English mate. How we just had that whole court thing. Little Ranger dude.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah,
Yes,
that whole deal.
yeah, yeah. No, agreed. Yeah, but and I'm glad like the right decision was made in that case.
Mm-hmm.
The right decision was made in that case. All right. Well, there you go. We had the quick question quarter. Maybe not so quick in this case,
It's
but
never
I love
quick.
it. Like, I love
It's
quick.
never
It
quick.
never
I
ends
love
up
it.
being quick, but this is
Never
good.
is. I love it.
Nice. Look, I like the
That's why the
alliteration.
cutaway
Okay?
is so good.
I like the alliteration. I know some people think alliteration is for hacks, but I love it.
Yeah.
Right.
Foul face.
Look,
Come
two's
on.
okay. Two's okay. Any more than two, a lot of people think it's taking the piss, but I don't.
Fucking foul face.
Yeah.
Rightio. So, Kyle, if you can cue up the next cutaway, we will swiftly move
Yes.
on
Let's do
to the next segment.
Come on, if you want to fight, come on then.
Get in the
Are
bin.
you enjoying the weather there, mate?
Cool.
Are you enjoying the weather there?
We are back. That goes way longer than I think. Every time it goes way longer than I
I
think.
know. It's just it needs to play for the full effect.
It does. Yeah, it needs to play for the full effect there. Right. So, welcome to Get in the Bin. Now, this is where we just go, right, if you had gathered, we were talking about being nerds before. If you had gathered all the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet and could just like snap your fingers and make something disappear from the music industry, what would it be and why? Now, this can be anything big or small. This can be something that you think would be for the betterment of the industry as a whole. This can be something that you just get personally annoyed by and don't want to see anymore. It can be any aspect of the business from, studio work to the business side to shit that punters do. Literally any aspects of the business. We will grab one from each of you. What would you erase from the music industry forever and why?
Ooh. It's a really hard one. But
a little
for me
challenging.
personally, it'd be the toxicity and biasm in the music industry gone. Make it a bit more of an even playing field for everybody. I think the industry would be a lot more healthier. I think the relationships within the industry would be a lot more healthier and a lot more fruitful as well. And I just think it'd be better all around.
Yeah, that's
Couldn't agree
very,
more.
very valid. I agree. Like there's a lot of look. I feel like the at least the side of the scene I've experienced since moving up here is all very collaborative and friendly, and everyone wants to work together and be very helpful to one another. But obviously, there's going to be exceptions to that, and
Absolutely.
it ebbs and flows, right? Like Kyle and I
100%.
went through the shit in Sydney, a period where the scene in Sydney got really, really toxic and competitive,
Yeah.
and everyone was afraid to like to help other people, because if I'm helping the other people, that's like it's not we'll lose out
Yeah.
next time, and I just
Mm.
that can fuck right off.
It still
100%.
goes, but you can see the bands that are like that, and you can see the bands that go, no, that's not
Yeah,
how this is meant to work. And the ones that are realizing that, hey, this is not how it's meant to work, are getting a lot better shows. They're getting a lot busier, a lot quicker.
absolutely, I agree with that.
Who's next?
I would say one of my biggest things is, I mean, it's not specifically them, but it's a lot of people, a lot of businesses like them, like things like Ticketek and Ticketmaster, and just their just with selling shows and selling tickets. Huge prices for events and things that a lot of people can't afford. And it's getting more expensive. Even that practice of they'll sell 70% of the tickets, keep 30, give them to scalpers, and then make a cut from the scalpers, which they were doing over in the States and stuff. And it's not just them. I know Ticketmaster's the same. It's a lot of the bigger ones, and it kind of reduces how many people can come to the show, what type of people can come, and just, and takes money away from the artists to, people who don't want to sell their tickets at crazy prices because they want people to come, and like if it was me, I want anyone, like, as many people as I can to come to my show, and enjoy it.
Well,
Otherwise, what's the point of doing it?
I know it's probably not the best example, but you know that American guy that done that he was just done that acoustic song randomly in his forest and recorded it on his iPhone or whatever. So he had a run of shows going on, and then the ticket company turned around and goes, "Oh, 100 and whatever a ticket," and he goes, "Not to my fucking show," and they've gone, "Well, you're not." Well, then we're not doing the show. He goes, fuck it, I'll book my own venue and I'll charge people for $60 a ticket, $50 a ticket. Nobody's paying more than that to come and see me.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I wish that I wish that artists push it, and I wish that there would be other companies to push it, because it becomes really difficult. And as you said, $150 for a ticket, like how many people aren't going to come for that? How many people will go away, and then and they might stop enjoying the show because they don't go see them live. They listen to the music, but then there's a lot of runoff that can happen because of it. And I think it's just greed. It's just a greed
Partly
thing.
the reason why my daughter doesn't listen to Taylor Swift. I don't want to have to kill my daughter's soul by going, Daddy's not getting you Taylor Swift tickets, sweetheart.
and this is all part of like this is what happens when you have a monopoly in place over an industry, when you got Ticketek and Live Nation. It's all like the one thing, and they own they own a lot of the venues, they own a lot of the booking and touring companies, they own, like, at every stage of the business, they are like a majority power, so they can just charge whatever the fuck they want, and people have to pay it.
Absolutely.
You either pay it or you don't fucking tour, and it's so disgusting that it's come to that point. Yeah, absolutely.
This is zero competition in as far as that ticketing.
Yeah, anyone
stuff
that tries,
goes.
they just get stomped out. They just get stomped out.
Yeah,
That's
there is
exactly it,
zero. Oh,
yeah, it's rough.
All right, last one.
Let's go, Joey.
I've probably got like a couple, maybe 3 or 4 that I can think of. But the first one just off the top of my head is one that we have a song about, and that's just about paying and treating artists as human beings. I'm sure that so many people have said that, but we have a song called Extort that is about, people, like, consumers not taking music and art seriously enough to pay them a livable wage, or to really pay them anything. And we work just as hard as I'm working just as hard now as I did when I worked for the government on $40 an hour. You know what I mean? Like, taking phone calls for the government. I'm working just as hard for, loose change. And I
Yeah.
just wish that people took what we do a little more seriously, and, gave us a chance to actually live our lives and thrive instead of, the whole starving artist stereotype. And it's like almost an expectation that if you want to pursue art, that you're going to be broke. And me always joking, being like, I'm doing a fine arts degree, like I'm going to forever be unemployed. Ha ha ha. It's like, fuck that. Like,
It shouldn't be like that.
that shouldn't be the
Yeah.
case. I should, it should be easy to make a livable wage and for people to take you more seriously and to, help you
Yeah.
do that.
Well, I think this is where the big
Firmly
problem
agree.
lies in, and this is a big reason why Raf and I do what we do here. Everyone catches you lot at your finest. You're on stage. They catch you in that moment in bliss, and they catch you when you're happiest and you're doing what you want to do. But they didn't see the week leading up to it with all the practice. They didn't see the week leading up to it where you might have had to skip dinner because you didn't get paid from the last show you did. They didn't see any of that shit. They catch you when you're up on stage and you're feeling it and you're in the moment, and they just think, oh, you're getting to do what you love. Look at you. Look how happy you are. But that's 30 minutes. And then you've got to walk off on stage and you've got to take your car that's probably nearly on empty from getting to the show. Fingers
The
crossed that
train,
you got
can't
paid
afford
for
a car.
or a train. And then it's fingers crossed that that the venue pays us so we can get our fucking shit home that night.
Yeah.
It's so much more than what is presented in that time when you're at the pub and you catch the band. Ask them about what they're doing before the show, everything that they had to do to get there, and then everything that they're doing afterwards the next week before the next one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes, all right. Thanks for thank you for getting that and seeing that, and
No,
it's a
100%.
hustle.
100%.
It's hard.
Like we've been there, we've done that. Like
Yeah.
Kyle. There's a reason. There's a reason. There's few reasons Kyle doesn't do bands anymore.
Yeah,
Or Kyle
that's one
doesn't
of
sing
them.
in bands anymore. Like I've done. I have been very fortunate in some of the stuff I've gotten to do with bands. That it's, but through all of it, it has been a money pit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, it's like what's the saying? It's like when you see a duck swimming on the water, right? Like it might look all pretty and stuff on the surface, but underneath the legs are kicking like fucking crazy, right? It's just
That's a good analogy. I like that.
and it's made, yeah, it's unbelievable the work that goes into it that people never get to see. And
Sacrifice.
people and then people like, and that's why that's why you see so many musicians go off the rails in the way they do, because the amount of work that
absolutely.
goes into it is insane, and most people couldn't handle it. And they say that people go, yep, this is the argument, right? People say, oh yeah, but like it's not like it's science and engineering and trades and whatnot. It's like, yeah, okay, all that stuff is necessary for like society and for life to be a thing, to continue on, right? Get that, 100% on board with it. The arts make life worth living, and if it would be, if you were to just take art as away, like music, movies, TV, comedy, theater, all these things. If you were to take all these things away, life would be the dullest fucking shit ever, and there
We're
would
living
be
as like Puritans.
yeah,
For
it's like
sure.
there is nothing there. Even I would argue that even religions stem from art. In some in some ways, like there's you take all that stuff away and you are literally existing, you are not living. And that's so important that people just don't get. And you're right, like they want what we offer, but they don't want
Don't want
us
to pay.
to make a living doing it, which is wild. Well, there you go. Look, thank you so much for joining us, guys. Like I've enjoyed this so much. I feel like we could probably go for like another 2 hours if we didn't really keep
Got to get
reining
you
it
back
in.
on. Got to get you back
Absolutely.
on.
We'll absolutely have to get you guys back on at some point.
Oh, 100%.
We would love to.
Absolutely. So, Go and check out Premonitions by Foulface. It's on all the usual places where you can see that shit. Go and check out a gig from Foulface. Have you guys got any gigs coming up or nothing in the bank at the moment? Nothing planned at the moment.
Next one is in May.
May? All
That's
right.
all we know on that.
Okay.
But if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, anytime we get a gig offer, we're posting about it. So definitely
Absolutely.
follow the socials and
Yeah.
we'll post
100%.
there.
Yeah, and I'm going to quote an Australian music icon here. Do yourself a favor and go and check out Foulface when you get the opportunity because you will not be disappointed in the slightest.
That's good.
Thank
And
you.
go and follow him on all the socials. Go and check out Premonitions online. Thank you to James, Joey, and Shannon for jumping on this one. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you to my co-host Kyle. Thank you to all
Thank
the
you,
fans
Matt.
for watching, and we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
See yous. And